Welcome to Wednesday's morning stream. How's everybody doing out there today? Getting colder and colder. I think the past two nights we went into, I even think, the high 20s maybe. So that's it's pretty chilly for North Carolina. Mr. No Name Nobody, how's it going, sir? It's going well. Although I slightly messed up today. I made myself my coffee, and I've already drank it. And the stream just started. So that tells me at some point, relatively soon, I am going to have to make myself another cup of coffee. Morning, Cosmin. Oh, you're on bright and early today. Very nice, very nice. We got a good, I'd say probably 4 hours in front of us. I got a decent night's sleep last night. Past few nights have been not bad sleep, just not a lot of it. And I've felt, well, like I need more sleep. But feeling pretty good today, so today we'll do some more, AMS2 and maybe jump around and different things. But AMS2 for me is probably the most fun to play when I'm, I guess you could call it entertaining. And by that I mean when I'm playing the game, trying to have a good time in the game, but I'm also distracted by, say, like, conversation with chat and stuff like that. And in general, just trying to be somewhat, I don't know, animated in my conversation. Whereas if I was playing something like, say, iRacing or something where there's a whole lot of focus going on into what it is, I would probably be much more of a slog, So for the sake of not boring people watching, I feel like AMS2 is probably the best way to go. It's also the most fun for me. So, and not to mention too, now mind you, I obviously haven't played Project Motor Racing. I wish to say that I could have, but I have not played it. But from what I've seen from some of the testers out there that I at least rely on for when I haven't experienced something, they say it's a lot. AMS2 and Project Motor Racing feel similar. Now, from my understand, the slide physics isn't as, animated in Project Motor Racing, but, until we play the game, we don't know. We currently have less than 2 weeks till Project Motor Racing comes out, and I'm just hoping. Now, it's not going to live up to the hype. Nothing does. People overhype like crazy on every subject. TV shows, movies, video games, you name it. People overhype reality. It's not going to be as good as the hype, but can't be as bad as Rensport looks. Now it's crossplay, no online mandatory. I mean, those two things right there, it's a great start, right? Lots of cars, 70 cars. They got Group C. They have Group C. So, like, I'm sold right off the rip. My buddy Rowdy, who we might play with later tonight on the second stream today, he's a 787B fan. I am too, but I also like the Sauber Mercedes. So you'll easily see some, Sauber Mercedes versus 787B Group C racing. The other Group C cars are all right. They're not too bad. They're not standouts in terms of icon and just the sound and everything that they do. Maybe find another way to read the chat so you'll not need to look down all the time. Problem is, I have my screen here, obviously, in front of me in my peripheral where I would want a screen for, racing. But there's no way to get information to that screen without blocking the... Like, I can't put my stream in front of the game, because first of all, the second I click on the game, it would just pop back over the stream anyway, because I run almost every game in either windowed or borderless mode, so it just makes it easier to when I'm in the game, to not have to necessarily tab out of the game to go click on something else. For any of you guys ever run, like, typically you want to run games in full screen, but when you're streaming, things just work better when they're not ran in full screen. Because that's what I'm looking at right now is an extra monitor. It's just bolted to the rig, whereas obviously my panel is in front of me. So I have to look somewhere. So essentially, even if I only looked a little right or left, I still have to, take my eyes off the prize, I guess you could say. Now, I could bolt another monitor to the wall next to the... So I have I'm using an 83-inch TV as my panel. and it's an LG OLED. That's a low-key brag because I love my LG OLEDs. I have a bunch of them. They've ruined my perspective of imagery. I can't look at a VA, an IPA, a TN. I can't look at any LED panel, put it that way. I have to look at OLED, even though OLED is technically LED. But I could put it next to it, so that way I'm like doing that maybe. But the thing is that I want to say this screen is maybe 5 feet from me at most. Might even be a little less. It's hard to say. So I set it up between the rig and the TV to be a 55-degree field of view, which is pretty good for sim racing. But I have an 18-inch portable monitor here that's bolted directly to the rig that essentially allows me to read chat and operate the stream. I could put it to the left of the TV on the wall, but now we're talking like that's at that angle, that's probably 6 feet away. I would need a relatively large panel there because I have a 27-inch I could put over there, but I don't know if that would be any better. It's hard to say. But either way, for a round one setup, I'm sure this setup in general will evolve, you know, the longer I do this. I already have some more things coming. I have a new, I have some extra extrusion, aluminum extrusion, which by the way is like, for those of you who ever played with aluminum extrusion, or extruded aluminum, whichever, they're like Legos or Connects, where you can just build your own. Because I have an FGT Pro, but I have it sitting on a frame that's built of extruded aluminum, so I can attach all sorts of things to it. That was the part of the idea for that. So I'm building a better, I have the parts coming today to build a better mouse pad setup over here, because I use the entire shifter bracket. So, and I also have my stream deck over here and my camera right here. I have a track racer setup coming here to bolt to my, because this is, one of these days I'll do a little video of like walking around the rig, but I don't think we're there yet, you know. I think I got to do a little more streaming and kind of get some momentum going towards the sim racing stuff. I was doing a lot of reading on YouTube in general this past weekend, or past week I should say, about just how to like properly set everything up to not alienate your own audience, because changing, as they call it, niches is a relatively difficult thing to do with YouTube. And most of my subscriber base is subscribed to me for not video games, I guess you could say, you know. But I have the feeling that this channel is going to go primarily sim racing and racing adjacent type stuff. And then the motorcycle content, which was my older content, will be like specials and stuff like that, you know. So the problem with motorcycles is that they're seasonal. And for me anyway, I don't ride or, you know, want to be involved with motorcycles under a certain temperature. So this is first of all, this is something that it's easier to do in general from a daily standpoint. And getting contents for bikes is just, it's difficult. So anyway, that was a veered off tangent there. Currently building my rig from wood. Very nice. There's a lot you can do with wood. Pause. But just use good quality wood, oak, something like that. Don't use anything cheap, and just anywhere you think you might. The great thing about the wood is that anywhere you think there might be a weakness, you just add more, you know, use a couple extra screws. But Rensport, Rensport looks pretty rough. I mean, I played it when it was free to play on PC, and I mean, I tried it 2 separate times. First time I was a little impatient and I just immediately got rid of it. Second time I was like, all right, let me, it's coming out for console. Let me give it another shot on PC. I don't think I was any more patient the second time around. It was just awful. Everything about it was terrible. So, okay, fast forwarding now to a full 1.0 release, which I believe this is why I'm like, I don't want to hold Project Motor Racing to, I hold it to a better standard than what I've seen from Rensport, that's for sure. But I'm not holding to them 1.0 meaning anything, because 1.0 never means anything in modern day gaming. But 1.0 comes out, and it's been out on PC forever, and yet somehow it looks like it's still better on console, you know? So it's just, it looks rough. And one thing I can say so far, is I come from an industry, motorcycles. That's what I. So what I do for my main living is I work on and tune motorcycles. For those in here who don't know, and the bar is really low for what's accepted in the for the community standard. Meaning, like, people will use garbage parts all the time, and they just accept it because that's what's available. And I never have, and I never will. I'll always hold myself to a higher standard when it comes to what I use, and if it's not, you know, top tier quality, I won't waste my time with it. I won't promote it. I won't do anything like that. I'm not against being sponsored or being affiliates of things. However, I have to approve of the product, or in this case, I would have to approve of the game or the sim gear or whatever to ever be an affiliate or a sponsor of something. So, like, because the way I look at everything in this world is that people will always value money first. And it, understandably so. People have to make a living, and people also somewhat get addicted to making money. I shouldn't say somewhat, they do. But for me, if I accept a sponsorship or I'm an affiliate of something, then that means you have my approval of that product. It's not just about the money, you know. Obviously, I want to make money, but I don't want to compromise my, I don't want to say morality, that's probably the wrong word, my ethics, you know. Like, for example, I'm a dealer for a lot of motorcycle parts that I get 50% off as being a dealer. So whatever you see as a listed price, it costs me 50% of that. So if I sold it to someone for full price, I gain half of what you see as the price tag as profit, you know? And yet there are products that I refuse to sell and I could make, I'm talking like $1,000 a pop I could sell. I won't sell them even though I'm a dealer. I won't even advertise that I'm a dealer because I don't like the products. So that was a long tangent about, that started at Rensport. But anyway, what got me to that? This is the problem with being on the older side. I'm 38 years old, and all it takes is a small little tangent, and it completely resets where my brain was going. So maybe chat will get me back. So anyway, you're currently building a rig from wood. That's cool. Finishing touches are where a rig like that, it's easy to relatively easy to build a strong designed structure. The finishing touches are where it could look cheaper, it could look really cool. So take your time on that side of things. Here for the sim racing and butt stuff. Thank you, Rowdy. Thank you, Rowdy. I appreciate it. No diddy. What's going on, Alborg83? What am I using with the rig, Clippy? What do you mean in terms of what in particular? What am I using with the rig? I have obviously Next Level Racing's FGT Pro as the rig. I'm sitting it on top of their motion frame that they sell, which is just a 40/40 structure. And I've bolted a bunch of 40/40 aluminum to it for accessories, you know, and I have more coming because I want to, it's addicting to build with this stuff. And I can understand why your main aluminum extrusion rigs are so popular in the customizing space, because you can do whatever you want. The downside is they're just too tall for what I'm trying to do right now. Now, if I don't run a dedicated sim space, as you can see over here, there's one couch, there's another couch right here, and there's my movie theater of a screen that I have right here. And I still use this room for things other than sim racing. So I can't have my rig be too high, or else it completely blocks the view of the TV. So that's why I didn't go with an aluminum extrusion frame. I was looking at like an ASR 4 or an ASR Pro as an option for what I was going to do, but I ultimately sided with the nicer looking, lower profile steel tubular rigs. I'm out of coffee. This is a bummer. The rig is almost ready. I'm still in talks with Simagic, waiting already for a week on their response to place my order. At this point, I might wait for the Black Friday sales. I mean, at this point, if you're not in their ecosystem yet and you're not super impatient like me, I'll give up a sale to get something sooner because I'm just impatient like that. It's financially stupid, but that's just who I am as a person. I'm the type of person that if I'm ready to spend the money, I want it and I want it now. Oh, that's a good sound. That's a good sound. I added that, by the way. That's someone Clippy worked offline. The way it looks like that. Just subscribed. Appreciate it, Clippy. Thank you. Thank you. I had to do my Final Fantasy victory fanfare sounds for subscribing. It's the first one I've heard so far. Anyway, appreciate the sub, buddy. Almost read that. For sure, wait for BF when it's this close. If it was really good across quite a few brands last year. Yeah, I would definitely wait for Black Friday. I mean, they announced it quite in advance from Simagic. So I got from, what's the US distributor? Let me look them up quick. I forget what they're called. And they were already, everything was already pretty much on sale at least. Like I said, I bought this Alcantara wheel for $60. They're normally $120. SimShop. SimShop's a US retailer based out of Texas. And they're who I got everything from. For example, here, I'll just show you this. It's gonna be bright. Oh, that is bright. So this is literally the wheel that's on it right now. I just bought that and I got that last week. You know, normally $120. Now I don't know. So this could be marketing here. I don't know. I don't know what the normal prices would be. Now, I do know at some point this has been $120, but I don't know if this is one of those, like, they mark it up so they can show it as a sale and they're making the same amount of money. I don't know. But that being said, though, $60, and the quality of this wheel, I mean, who would ever buy a real, like an actual wheel that would bolt into a car, although this could technically bolt into a car, who would ever buy, like, a wheel rated for like crash safety? Because that's the only difference. The reality of the situation is that this does not have certain safety regulations that it passes to go into a real car that a real wheel would. Other than that, though, like, I mean, I can't easily, you know, deform this wheel. It's $60 and it's great. So, you know. Oh, yeah, we get that. I would definitely wait for Black Friday, though. If you're not like halfway into an ecosystem, like, for example, if you don't already have a bunch of sim stuff and you're trying to complete something, I would just wait and then get everything you need when it's on sale. Yeah, they announced the holiday mega sales. And it's taking in 2 days from now. I guess that is be a Black Friday for them. Yep. We'll see. We'll see what they offer. I mean, if the haptics for the pedals come down, I'll probably pick those up for the P1000s. But they're not. I mean, I want to say I'm only going to get two. I'm only going to get the brake and the throttle. I'm not going to get the clutch one because I only really use the clutch for clutch kicks. And I don't need haptics for that. You know, but I would like to feel ABS pulsing through the brake and maybe a little bit of acceleration rumble through the pedals. Now I have a butt kicker under the pedal plate, so I feel those things anyway, but they're just not, you feel them kind of in the whole rig, you know, whereas I would like to feel it specific to each foot pedal, you know, like ABS is, primarily ABS is what I want, so I technically could get away with one, but whenever you guys, you know, you drive a car that has ABS and you stomp on the brake, you feel that pedal, bah, 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 it pulses, you know, that probably sounds a little bit better than that, but anyway, and there's a reason also, too, I have to look down to read chat. So because I'm keeping the second panel below the sight line for the TV, which that isn't even the highest point. The rig is technically the wheelbase is the highest point, but it isn't at the angles. It clears the TV completely. So got a jigsaw I'm working on right now. I left the side stator cover off and a bit of dirt got in. I've drained the oil. Any idea if it's safe to use brake cleaner in the bottom end? I would not. I would not use brake clean. I would do everything, because the problem is you don't want to remove the oil from the bearings. You know, now obviously the oil that's between the rods and the crank are fairly well, I don't want to say sealed because they're not sealed, but they're isolated, I guess would be a better word for it. But you don't want to remove, you don't want to chance the brake clean, yanking any, because braking is going to break down oil relatively quickly. So I would not, you could maybe spray brake clean on a rag and then wipe away anything you might think that's, compromised. But at the end of the day, what I would do is I would just drain the oil, put some fresh oil in it, prime the engine, meaning spin the motor and spin the oil pump without turning the bike on, and then run it and then drain it again, and then put fresh oil in it again. So I would use some cheap oil just so you're not wasting a bunch of money on oil, and maybe even do that twice. It depends on how much debris got in there, but I can tell you that when a new motor gets put together and I put them in a bike, I do about, I want to say, it's kind of ridiculous, I probably do, let's say, 3 to 5 oil changes inside of between seating the rings and the tuning process of, so not worth it, because you have to understand an entire motor is on the bench being assembled. Now, clean rooms exist and people do their best to keep debris out of an engine, but debris gets in an engine. Not to mention, the engine itself has a little bit of debris from just wearing in certain components. Now, it shouldn't be damaging debris, or else you might have another problem. But point is, you still change your oil. There's a reason why, on a fresh engine, the oil you immediately drain looks very metallic-y, But that's what I would do personally. I'd, grain of salt with everything I said. I don't know what your exact use case looks like in terms of how much, if a pile of dirt got in there, you had the stator cover off and someone packed in a bunch of dirt, you might have to do some tear down to clean all that stuff out. But it depends. If it's just a little bit of dust and debris collected inside it, just take the oil pan off, maybe spray a little bit of cleaner inside where the stator is and clean that out by hand. But I would primarily be worried about just not cleaning away oil from the bearings, because that's going to be the most important thing. If you run a motor dry before oil runs through those bearings, you could very easily spin a bearing, even at idle, So just be careful with that. Yeah, I expect a lot of Black Friday sales. It kind of sucks because I shouldn't say I built. I switched over to Simagic not that long ago. So I probably overspent. I got the deals. I got everything that you could currently get through Sim Shop there. But I still paid $700 for the wheelbase. I think I got the bundle, so I want to say I saved $30. But nothing I would call if they do a 20% off sale on the EVO Pro, then I might be a little butthurt that I just spent that. But if it's you save $50, oh well, Black Friday deals in the US they're usually pretty good. They're all over the place. TVs are the biggest thing, always. Black Friday deals, I don't know what it's like overseas, but I can tell you, at least in my experience, almost every Black Friday, I get a TV of some kind. For example, we had no intention. I just got this TV. This is a C4, an 83-inch LG C4. I just got this, I want to say, 2 months ago. And this was to replace my 85-inch non-OLED panel. But the biggest reason I wanted this was because the TV that I bought into, while it was a really nice non-OLED TV, it was a Sony, saying Bravia is pointless because the entire line is Bravia. I forgot the model it was, but the model I didn't know about, so I bought into it because it was 120 hertz. And this was, I want to say 4 years ago, maybe. Pretty sure it was 3 years ago. I bought into it because it was 120 hertz. And I'm only ever going to buy panels now that are 120 hertz or higher. I'm never going to buy a 60 unless it's going in the shop or something and I don't care about it, because I always want the ability to have that headroom for if I ever strap a game to it or something like that, But I wanted 120 hertz because I frequently use my computer on it. And I found out, unfortunately, years later, that when you bump up to 4K resolution, which is its native resolution, by the way, and you go to 120 hertz, it's the second I click on my refresh rate on the computer to 120 hertz, I found out it wasn't a panel issue, it was a processor issue, that the processor wasn't strong enough inside the panel or inside the TV, that it would half the vertical resolution. So 4K is 3840 by 2160. So it would essentially make a 16:9 resolution that was 3840 by 1080p. So a lot of my games looked blurry. And I didn't know that until a couple years in, and I could never figure out why at 120 hertz that the screen just didn't look as good as if I had played it at 60. So that was a big bummer. So that like rushed me out of getting this into this one. And then this one's 144 hertz and it's an OLED, so win. But anyway, another tangent. I wasn't planning on getting a new living room TV. We had a 65-inch Sony in the living room, and we just happened to look for her parents for a TV for Black Friday, and I'm like, well, that's interesting. The 65-inch LG OLED C5, the 2025 model, was on sale for 50% off, and it was a 2025 generation or model year, whatever. So we bought it for us, and we sold her parents our current TV, which is now their TV, for a relatively cheap price. The point is that if that Black Friday deal wasn't so ridiculous, we would have bought them a regular LED TV. Now we just have one more OLED in the house. I love OLEDs. My eyes are visually addicted to OLED panels. For example, my 18-inch little mini monitor here, my portable one, is a non-OLED. And if I have the backgrounds off and run them as black backgrounds, the backlight of this is just such an eyesore to me. It's such a first world problem, I know, but I am who I am. Let's see. Notice some debris. I got more on the actual cover than anything. The starter wasn't even mounted to the engine when I got it. Glad I spotted that. Okay, so I mean, I would still do a good solid oil cycle, just to be even still, you don't know where the motor's been. You don't know much about that. So, like I said, whenever I would treat it like you just had the engine built, always do a solid oil flush. But just save yourself some money and go buy some cheap oil. Nothing. It doesn't have to be. It can be car oil. It doesn't matter. The biggest difference between car oil and bike oil are just essentially friction modifiers for the clutch, because most motorcycles are wet clutches. But everybody always fixates on, car oil versus bike oil and blah, blah, blah. Don't worry about that too much. Your engine is fine with either oil. For example, I run AMSOIL Dominator in my motorcycles. They're race bikes. They only go wide open throttle. So basically they only get abused, is my point. And AMSOIL Dominator is, for the most part, a car oil. However, it has zinc in it, which is a modifier for the clutch. You want the clutch to be able to bite, and certain oils without zinc and stuff like that in them, they will lose friction, and therefore, so they won't cling to the materials. Because the idea with oil is you want oil to essentially not get ripped off of off of any material, of any metals, right? You want them to stay there. You want it obviously to move like a liquid, but the point is that the actual film, you want that to stay on there at all times to keep a lubrication, So a lot of car oils won't do that as well. A lot of the motorcycle oils are much better for abuse, but the AMSOIL Dominator has zinc in it, which is what that's for. Anyway, my point of that story is run cheap oil for the flush, and then run whatever oil you want to run. Where I am from is shit. They are raising prices going into the month, so they'll have to... Well, trust me, I know all about price raises in the U.S. Won't even go down that tariffy road conversation. Some racing Black Friday deals are pretty good. I'm considering looking at an OLED monitor this year. Definitely get into an OLED. But I warn you, when you get used to looking at an OLED, it's hard to look at anything else. But I will say, if you're expanding outside the scope of weird shaped panels, ultra wide curves and stuff like that, I would just get an OLED. I would just get an LG TV. If you're looking at a standard 16:9 ratio panel, that's flat, not curved. I would not get anything gaming gaming on it is going to be jacked up through the roof in terms of price. Like, so this 83-inch OLED was on a very slight sale, but nothing crazy. It was pretty close to retail. I paid $3,000 for it. It's an 83-inch OLED. It's what's the response time? It's not sub 1 millisecond, but it's low. And it's 144 hertz, and it's an OLED. It's like, do you have any idea what a gaming monitor would cost at that size? My 65 that we just got was $1,300 for reference. That's how much that price or the size added to the cost of the panel, you know? Because the one we have down, the 65-inch that we bought, the C5, is technically a better panel. It's just, the only difference is really it's a little bit brighter. But this TV was over twice as much, and yet, just because of the size. So, considering for a gaming monitor, and I'm worried I'll convince myself I need it for my rig in like a month. I mean, it's hard to stay away from OLED. It really is. Really, really is. Oh man, alright, so I'm gonna have to make a coffee before I start. I installed BeamNG. I almost installed LMU again. I don't know. LMU hasn't intrigued me at all. I think it's like, it's weird. I judge Sims / racing games realistically by two things, ultimately. Is it fun? Or is the experience really good in terms of like it being a simulator? If it's neither of those, well, then I'm just not that interested. For example, LMU, and it's not just me, it's pretty notoriously known for being a very dull force feedback game. But the physics are supposed to be pretty good. The physics feel okay. Like, I'm not going to judge it because I haven't spent enough time on it. I think, hold on, I'll tell you right now. Where is LMU? Yeah, I've got 2.6 hours into LMU. So there's not a whole lot you can judge on that. But I can tell you that there is no quick like, hey, let's have some fun in this by myself time, which is fine. It's supposed to be an online competitive simulator. That's fine. But then the driving experience by yourself is very dull as well. So I'm not taken by LMU at all. Like, I think there's more of a reason for me, anyway, by myself to play Forza than there is to play LMU. And Forza's terrible. I shouldn't say it's terrible. It's incomplete. On a wheel, it's rough, and I think for me, the worst, believe it or not, the worst thing about Forza that I just can't get used to is the sound. Actually, that brings me to what I want to do on today's stream. Since this stream is obviously here titled, Will Project Motor Racing Be Good? Which I did have someone last stream get upset with me in the comment section after, based on the title. I titled it Project Motor Racing Prep. In the title, Project Motor Racing Prep. And I played AMS, and he was not happy with that. He feels I baited him with a clickbaity title about Project Motor Racing, even though it was not a lie. I didn't say in the title, playing Project Motor Racing today. I said Project Motor Racing Prep. But hey, maybe I'll change how I do things. But, so I think what I want to do is I'm going to jump into some Forza and then compare some of the things to Project Motor Racing just from a sound standpoint. You would really like the F1 games? I have F1 25. I got 64 hours in F1 25 so far. And I primarily do the, not career, the F1 World. F1 World, where you kind of like upgrade your own car. where it's a lot like the Destiny system, where light level, except it's a tech level, where it doesn't even matter what the things say they do, doesn't matter the rarity of them, just bigger number better. So, alright. What I'm going to do real quick, I'm going to brew myself another coffee. And then we'll figure out... So I'm going to be jumping around. That's basically... So, essentially, my plan with streaming is I'm going to be jumping around. I'm going to be playing a lot of AMS2 because it's the most fun that I think I can have by myself, especially. But I'm going to be jumping around into a lot of different racing games until Project Motor Racing comes out. Now, ideally, in a perfect world, Project Motor Racing will be good enough in its 1.0 day one state that that's all I'm going to play from the day it comes out. Now, I might jump into other things, but like, I want to have one game that I pretty much get on and I grind. So I'll play it a little bit on the Tuesday it releases, and then I'll be streaming it, hopefully, the Wednesday. But let me ask you this while I make my coffee, and I'll let you guys stew on it and respond. Should I get NASCAR 25? Would that be something worth watching? Because I don't know if it's worth playing. But it seems to have a pretty big fan base. If you get away from the simulator side of things and dive into the hooliganism that is NASCAR and just rely on the ridiculousness of the crashes, it seems like people like that. And I can admit that could be pretty fun, but I mean, I feel like BeamNG would probably do that better. But if we're talking about a numbers standpoint, there's a reason why people stream Gran Turismo over The Sims. Because it has a much bigger audience. So, I feel like NASCAR 25, even though it's a brand new game and it's got tons of faults, is going to bring in a lot more people than BeamNG. And BeamNG would bring in more the very small, niche, purists crowd. I don't know. What are your thoughts on NASCAR 25? I'll be right back. Almost back. Coffee's taking forever to brew. All right, so you say NASCAR 25 has iRacing team behind it, which makes me trust it will be good, or at least will listen to criticism. It seems to have good reviews so far, though. So this is what we're. Let me see if it's updated on Steam at all. So, oh, actually, it's already right there. God, it's. So this is where I go by reviews more than anything else. Right there. So we got mixed reviews. iRacing. I don't always go by this, but it's definitely a note. So, where are we at here? Let's go with the most recent ones. So it's the weirdest part is that the wheel comments, which is what I care most about, because I will say this. I bought NASCAR 25 on release day for PS5 Pro. I got it refunded. That's really hard to do with Sony. The wheel feedback was terrible. There was like nothing there. Maxing it out on the wheelbase, maxing it out in the game, least amount of force feedback I've ever felt. It was so easy to just lose control of the car because you'd put in too much input because you don't feel anything. Clearly it was developed on controller. So, don't listen to most of the reviews that say no wheel support. Wheel support works fine. You just have to manually bind controls and plug your wheel in before starting the game, not after. He said this game does have some glaring issues. To start, physics can be unpredictable, blah, 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 blah. In conclusion, I would not buy the game in its current state and recommend you don't either, as I have played more than 2 hours. I'm forced into keeping it, so I might as well wait until... I mean, yeah, if you're forced to keep it. For those with controller issues... It is very mixed. I've read a lot of the reviews. I will say mixed, it's better than it was when it first started. It was mostly negative when it first started. But for me, it really comes down to, I'm only going to play on a wheel. So, if it's not going to be fun for me, and then no one's going to watch it, it's a waste of $60. And not to mention, tomorrow... we get this. When's the release time? So approximately 23 hours. We get AC Rally. Now, I don't know if there's going to be a price on it. Doesn't say. But I can assure you, if this game is even somewhat in a working state and not total hogwash, this is going to be a much more entertaining game for me than the NASCAR. I have WRC, I have Dirt Rally 2. I think Dirt Rally 2 is probably a little more fun because you get just from the Hoonigan standpoint, you can kind of do stuff like that. The rally racing stuff, though, on WRC and Dirt Rally 2, I don't know. I don't know if it's my style because it seems like it's... I mean, there's definitely a skill issue. I'm not good at it, that's for sure. That can be learned, but I just don't know if... I don't know. I don't know. So I'm torn. But I trust Assetto to do a better job than EA. And by Assetto, I mean the game, obviously, because they're not a developer. Being developed by not Kunos. So I'm going to warm myself up with some AMS. Just what I want to play. And then I don't know if I, no, I'm pretty sure I did. Let's screw it. Let's, no, we'll deal with that in a minute. We got a while, so let's jump into AMS to warm up. Cosmin, what's your current setup again? I know Clippy said he's like a gangster and has an Invicta or something like that. That was you, right? You have an Acertec Invicta, Clippy? I wanted to do a race. Yeah, this was a fun race last time. I think I needed to bump up the difficulty to 100%. 120 is ridiculous. Make sure I relocate my mouse before the... Oh, speaking of which, hold that thought. I gotta turn on my butt kickers. Can't be racing without haptics. What am I, a noob? I'm gonna go ahead and say it's being marketed as a simcade. Now, I say that because they are definitely marketing it as a sim, but in my opinion, there is a certain... I guess it really doesn't matter, sim or simcade. In my opinion, they're kind of the same thing, because, you know, you could argue that iRacing is a video game compared to a real F1 simulator in their $1 million studios. So, where is that bar? Where's the goalpost? You know? And so that makes... This is the goalpost. This is what a sim is. This is the goalpost. This is what a simcade is. This is what an arcade game is. I will always look at, for me, because I'm coming from my perspective and what I have access to, iRacing is sim, and anything on that level is a simulator. Gran Turismo and Forza are simcades, where they do a pretty good job of giving you a sim-like sort of grind, but there's definitely some arcade to it. And then there's Need for Speed, Forza Horizon, all that stuff. That's arcade. You know, when I can take a 800 horsepower C8 Z06 through the dirt and have somewhat control, we got some arcade. You know, with that being said, Project Motor Racing, I'm saying is gonna fall. Here's the thing, they're advertising it. They're taking shots at Gran Turismo and iRacing, so they're trying to put both of them against the wall. So where they went after Gran Turismo, no mandatory online, stuff like that. Gran Turismo's mandatory online. Obviously, so is iRacing. You can't do anything. You might be able to do some test day stuff, but... and then they're also talking about no subscription. So they're clearly taking shots at iRacing when they say that. So... I haven't driven the game yet, but it's being marketed to just attack the leaders of the industries. So, whatever that actually means, we'll find out on the 25th, you know. Phone. There we go. Nothing that's great about having a smaller wheelbase than the Logitech one. I actually gained some wheel deck space. I'm excited for Project Motor Racing, though. I'm trying to temper my expectations, but it's hard to, because I am... Fix my table here so my haptics don't vibrate my coffee off like last time. You guys have haptics, like butt kickers or anything like that? They ruin the experience, because now you need them. Can't race without them. Forgot to put my gloves on. I'm not ready for this. What am I doing? Told you I gotta warm up. Apparently mentally, too. Get my gloves on quick. My hands are already starting to get a little on the, force feedback has its, you know, insta sweat side quests that it puts you on. I do need some decent gloves. I mean, the Logitech ones are fine. These are free. They come with any Logitech stuff. But problem is I need to get a glove. Like, these work, but they're still a little too loose, and I don't know. I need something that's breathable, but I can operate things. I don't have to just take them off, because it gets annoying taking gloves on and off and on and off and on and off. I know, more first world problems. All right, here we go. Oh, contact. We've got contact. Oh, Evan, what are you doing, buddy? That is not driving. Totally missed the braking zone there. All right, what do we got? We got 10th place. Quite a few laps to go. We got to keep the pack within drafting distance. That's the biggest thing. Excuse me. Oh, a little aggressive there. It's fine. It's fine. We got it. Come on. It's funny, because the AI at 90%, I beat them so bad in this. So I figured, oh, it's only 10% more. Yeah, well, it might be 5% too much. I mean, they're at I would say 100% is probably my current skill level in this game. But when you start at the back of the pack, I mean, if they're at your skill level, or comparable anyway, it's hard to make your way to the front of the pack. Especially when I keep messing this corner up. Oh, what I'm doing there. Yeah, I want the haptics that bolt right to the P1000s. Mainly the brake and the throttle, but mainly the brake. That's something I'm waiting to see what's on sale for Black Friday. Because I don't need them, and they're not very expensive, but if they're on a Black Friday deal, I'll pick some up. Got to use this chicane here to close some of the gap, like that. Oh no, don't do that. Missing gears. Second to fifth, not good. Luckily, is in an area where we didn't lose too much speed. Oh no. you drifted wide, AI. Oh, you made a mistake. Let's see. Need to get yourself public. Yep, saw that. Dan IL. I'm saying that right. What is your overall feeling of this game? AMS? Because that's what I'm currently playing. AMS 2. I love this game. The slide physics are a little too much, in my opinion. But I tolerate them. The game itself is a lot of fun, and the driving experience is mostly fun. But Project Motor Racing is, I'm hoping, going to take its place. We'll see, though. No, stay back there. You boys stay back there now. Sorry, I'm about to outbrake you anyway. Oh, that's what I'm talking about with the slide physics. They're very unpredictable in this game. I earned that loss fiddling with my mic. Back in 7th. So who in chat plans on playing Day 1 Project Motor Racing? I know I will. I will be non-stop. Unless it's terrible. Then that's a different story. Wow, Evan. That was a big mistake right there. I let the pack get away from me, and that's not good because they're going to pull on me in the straights because that's just the way the AI is programmed. They're always faster in the straights, even when they're slow. Oh, they're just driving around me. But that's alright, the chicane is mine. Oh, I spoke too soon. Messed up the chicane. That's why it's our first race of the day. Gotta warm up. I'm using 100% right now. Oh, man. Turned in a little too soon right there. More interested in AC Rally, huh? So are you more of a rallier or a racer? I mean, they're both racing, obviously. But what's your preferred style of racing? I'm a concrete person, naturally. I like the road. But rally games are very fun. You'd never catch me doing it in real life, whereas I'd do this in real life. Crazy, the pack is right there and I just can't do anything with it. Probably doesn't help that my driving is pretty subpar right now. I can't get over how much harder the AI is, though, going from 90 to 100%. Because I'm just pacing behind here in 7th place. Gain a little, then lose a little. Gain a little, and lose a little. I gotta be expertise in my driving if I want to drive around these guys. This is like I'm just doing solo laps, but in 7th place. Doesn't help that my front left tire is probably a little greasy right now. Assuming this game has that built into its physics. Go, daddy. Nothing. Nothing. Yeah, I'd say 100% AI is probably at my skill level. But if they're at my skill level, how do you beat yourself when you're 7 positions back on yourself, you know? You have to rely on the AI to make a mistake. And if the AI doesn't make mistakes, so let's see, Project Motor Racing. This isn't Project Motor Racing, so just so there's no confusion there. This is Automobilista 2. Project Motor Racing is not out yet. It's titled Project Motor Racing. Will it be good? Because it isn't out yet. And we don't know if it's going to be good. We hope it's going to be good. I know I do. For sure road, but unless PMR or something of that can top iRacing, I'm set. I hear you. Well, for me, it's about accessibility. And that's iRacing's flaw, is it's not accessible. You need to be a sim racing purist on a computer only to play iRacing. So, for example, I am a die-hard computer person. So I know far more about computer gaming than I do sim racing. So, for me, a lot of my friends who play games, they're also on console. But they're into sim racing, but they're on a console. So they've got Gran Turismo 7, Forza if they're on Xbox, and now Rensport, which maybe that game will be good in a year, who knows. How do I, like, this game is more fun than anything else I've played from a single person and standpoint. And fun is the goal. Remember this, I'm not trying to be a real race car driver. I've raced real motorcycles in real life. So I have my fix for racing itched, I guess you could say. My scratch is itched. Or my itch is scratched. I'm not dyslexic, you're dyslexic. Yeah, I have a feeling this race is going to end with me in 7th place. I'm in between 2 packs. Oh boy, not if I do that. I can't even find 4th. But, the reason why I'm really looking forward to Project Motor Racing instead of what I already have is so that... Oh boy. That's right. To drive him out through that braking zone there. Wait him out, I mean. Is so that my friends who play on console, we can play together. Like, here's the thing. It's really hard to convince someone to build, say, a $2,500 simulator, which in my opinion is a good price for, like, a good experience, $2,500. And it's hard to convince people to do that when they also don't have a computer, and now they got to spend $2,500 to get a good experience on a computer. You can obviously spend less on a computer, but, like, I'm a bit of a maximist when it comes to computer technology. I mean, like, I have a 5090. I'm not the guy to ask about how to budget your computer build. Jesus, heaven. I mean, my video card costs more than most people's computers. That's just what a 5090 costs. But again, I am not the norm. I don't recommend just go out and get a 5090. Oh, Jesus. But the point is that when there's more accessibility on console to the games, and maybe the experience might be a little compromised, that's okay, you know? But when you're just straight up unable to be involved in sim racing because you don't have a computer, it's kind of a bummer, you know? And that's where I think Project Motor Racing has a... Damn it! Oh, I'm all jacked up now. I'm just giving it up. I'm about to be in last place at this rate. Jesus. Look at this. Screw these guys. Excuse me. Get out of my way. I want my position back. I will hit you. Don't you dare. All this talking and forgetting about driving. Come on, let's finish this race in 7th place. Come on. Oh my God. Playing defensive driving here. I don't know if my tires are just way too hot now. I know that front left tire is pretty smoked, but... Alright, here we go. It's a drag race now. Stay in front of them. Alright, we're good. We got it. Finish in 7th. That's where we spent the entire race, 7th place. So. My buck ears are going crazy. Let's see. You considered gaming streams like Arc Raiders or something? Yeah, but... So I play lots of games. I don't have Arc Raiders. I haven't played Arc Raiders yet. But for me... I don't want to say something cheesy or corny like I'm a thoroughbred. But racing is something I've done my entire life. Different versions of it, different variants of it. I've played video games my whole life too. But... video games has always been, for me, a casual thing. Like, I just want to get on, play some video games, and then be done. You know, I enjoy video games. Single-player games, whatever. The only way I'm going to have like a passion for like the grind of getting good at something is if it's racing. So for me, racing sim games like that's what'll keep me coming back wanting to get better and also keep doing the streaming thing. I can assure you, if I tried to be a streamer that just plays here's the thing. I'm going to play what I want to play. I don't want to build myself around a game. Like a lot of streamers do that, where the game becomes what they're worth. And once they try and leave that game, they can't. They're stuck on it. I want to do whatever I want to do. So the best way I can explain it is like Cletus McFarlane's channel. He does whatever he wants to do. People show up to watch him. The streamers that I watch, I show up to watch them. I don't care what they're playing. I'm entertained by them. So for me, that's what I'm going for. But my focus is going to be generally racing. So I'll do rally, I'll do F1, GT, Le Mans, prototype. It doesn't matter. I want to race. You know. Hell, even like the Destruction Derby type games, I'm in. As long as I'm behind a wheel, I'm having fun, you know? But I might do some supplemental once this grows and gets some momentum, because the biggest thing is with YouTube is momentum. Real early on, you kind of got to stick to a very specific niche and not deviate. You got to build somewhat of an audience. The algorithm is punishing on YouTube. You can't go by the numbers, like viewership numbers, because I'm changing my niche, so naturally, you know, it makes it harder. But like, for example, like right now, okay, so just looking down, checking right now, I have 6 viewers, right? That's decent for this, for me. You know, I've gone as high as I think like 20 so far with this. But when I was doing the podcast on motorcycle subjects, under 100 was slow. So, and that's the same YouTube channel I'm on right now. But because the content has changed, so has the viewership, because the current audience that subscribed doesn't care much about this type of stuff, but it's all newer viewers, which I'm fine with. Listen, if you want to be here and you want to watch and you want to hang out, you got a place to hang out. You know, if you're into motorcycles and you're into video games, or you're into doing nothing and just watching, come on down, hang out, you know. But that being said, I think I'll probably do some supplemental stuff, like once I get a little more time under my belt with, like, maybe I'll jump into some Battlefield 6 or something like that. I don't know if I could ever do COD again. I'm so COD brain burnt out, it's not even funny. I just want to get in there and be casual, and there's just no way to do it. And I'm not going to sweat and grind for first-person shooters, you know. Arc Raiders looks fun. That definitely looks like a fun game. The problem with Arc Raiders is I can easily see that being a game that you can very easily get sucked into and addicted to. And I'm not trying to do that yet. I think that's going to be my Project Motor Racing. Crossplay will be brilliant. I agree. That's the biggest thing for me, is the game obviously has to be good, but I have so many friends that are on PS5 and they got like a G923, or they're just getting into it. I have my share of computer friends, but it's funny. Like I said, I come from the computer gaming world, not the sim racing world. So for me, all of my computer gaming friends don't have racing sims and don't have any interest in racing without a sim. I don't blame them. I won't race a game on a controller. I just won't. For example, to explain this, summarize it better, I put a grand total of 1 hour into Gran Turismo 7 on a controller, and then I put the game down for a year. Never played it again. Didn't care. Wasn't fun. Like, I did this as a kid, you know, sit here on your joysticks. Actually, there were no joysticks when I first started, on your D-pad and your 4 buttons. But anyway, I started there, and then picking it back up, I'm like, this is no fun. Then I got a G923, and I put, I would say, 250 hours on in a very short amount of time. And then I got a Logitech Pro, and I got the whole Pro set up, and I built myself my first real sim. And then I put 700 plus more hours into Gran Turismo 7 before I realized this has been fun, but I'm stuck into a PS5 ecosystem, you know. Came across you yesterday. You got good chat. Keep it up. Appreciate that. Thank you. Well, that's a big part of the whole trying to be decent at streaming thing is conversation. Like I see a lot of like newer channels that try the streaming thing and they just sit there the whole time. Which that's fine. You got to focus. I get it. But at the same time, you have to make an approach of that. Every person, like it doesn't matter how big or small you are in the streaming space, the first viewer or the 1 millionth viewer, which obviously we know which side of the spectrum I'm on right now, you have to pretend that every single viewer, you have to act like an introduction. So you have to put on a kind of a show. Now, I don't want to say put on a show like you're trying to be fake. I'm being me, but you have to be vocal. You have to talk, you know? You have to be entertaining. I don't know if I'm entertaining, but I'm at least putting in an effort to not be a boring human being on camera. It's a good advertisement from Cooler Master. I love that, like, see, that's the thing. Again, I come from computers. So Cooler Master and all these other brands that are getting into the sim racing space. It really feels like for everybody, right now is a good time to get into sim racing. Because I've always kind of like followed sim racing, but not from a nerd level. Now I'm at a nerd level where like I nerd out over the up and coming parts and stuff like that, you know? But I've always followed it, or I should say for the past 10 or so years, I've followed it, paid attention to it, you know? It feels like right now we're in this really big boom time where like this feels like right now 2025 in sim racing feels like 2015 in the YouTube space, where YouTube, that was the time, if you weren't in by 2015, you kind of missed the potential window of getting in to where it was a lot harder to be accepted. You've been able to watch quite a few sim streamers from the beginning to now. It's been pretty cool. Yeah, and there's no doubt it's a niche, so it's a grind. If you want to get successful on YouTube through sim racing, you got to put in work. And one thing I will not do is the TikTok-y mentality that is popularity. I can't do it. I don't want to watch you dance and act like a clown. I'll just watch a movie. You know, I'll just watch the ending of Game of Thrones. But anyway, Cooler Master, Rowdy just sent this to me. Their advertisement. If your wife is angry, buy a sim racing rig. She'll still be angry, but she'll have a sim racing rig. That's good. I like that. Let me send that to my girl. / future wife. As long as you're enjoying it. That's the thing. That is where it's even more of a grind, but I don't care. I'm going to do what I want to do on stream. So if I decide I'm going to play, if I build an audience around this game, AMS 2, and I decide, you know what? I'm going to play some Assetto Corsa today. Or I'm going to play some Gran Turismo if it ever comes to PC. That's what I'm going to do. I look forward mostly to driving this car and the 787B, which is not in this game. I'm going to lower the AI back to a little bit because this car is a lot harder to drive. Everything's always a fun one. Not 10 laps, though. Do 2. I think COVID boosted it. Oh, and I went G921, then I got a full Moza GT Omega setup. Yep. I started with the G923. I had old Logitech wheels, like pre-G29. But G923 was my most recent serious level wheel. And then, so the best way I can explain my sim racing experience was I dipped my toe in the shallow end, pulled my foot back out, sprinted around to the deep end, and just dove in. That's where I'm at in a very short amount of time. It's addicting. But that's the racing addict that I am. I take racing seriously, so I think about it quite a bit. And that's how I got decent at my actual main job, which is building motorcycles. OCD. You know? Moses got a solid lineup of stuff, though. Moses came on the scene, you know. I wish Logitech, because they have a special place in my heart, Logitech as a company. I wish they would expand their ecosystem, because everything they have is good. There's just not enough of it. They have one of the first H-pattern video game shifters ever, and they have arguably the worst H-pattern on the market currently. That should be their number one thing. I know they need more wheels, because wheels would do more for sim racing for them, but they need an H-pattern shifter. If they are looking at their customer feedback, H-pattern shifter should be number one on the list. This Simagic H-pattern sequential combo, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, and it's a smaller form factor than Logitech's just sequential. So, I think COVID boosted it, then it cooled off, but still grew the general player base. I mean, COVID did that with pretty much everything. You're right. It put everybody inside for 2 weeks, and I'll be honest with you, I'm a bit of a house. I like being home. So I liked the COVID days in terms of the general lifestyle. I didn't mind being home. You know, it didn't affect me financially like it did a lot of other people because I'm self-employed. So there were a lot of customers who backed off from spending money. There were two kinds of people during COVID. There were the people who went, I don't know what's going to happen in the world right now. I'm not going to spend any money. So I lost that clientele. But then I gained the clientele of, the world's going to end. I'm going to spend all my money. So there were those kind of people. Things for me financially didn't change. I gained some customers and lost some customers. Not long term, but short term, you know. And then eventually it slowly changed back to the people that thought the world was going to end and the world didn't end. They started saving money again because they spent a lot of it. And the other people started spending more money again. But in general, COVID boosted video games in general. You know. I'm buzzing for some Mazda MX-5 racing. Yes, I agree. It does look like it's a popular one in iRacing for sure. Actually, you know, let me check on here and see, because I want to say they got that in here too. I'm just so addicted to the Group C cars. Group C is my favorite. Hands down. It's just this, like, raw... It is... taking out of control and keeping it in control as best as possible. And not to mention the sounds that they make. The 787B and the Sauber Mercedes, by themselves, for me, could fuel my audio craving. Just looking here. Not seeing any yet. I feel like they have to. I feel like I'm at the stock cars now. Supercart, V8. I don't see MX-5s. I thought there was, but I've played so many different games in a short amount of time that I haven't locked a lot of info down in my head yet. Yeah, back to the formulas. So many formulas. Yep. I don't see any. Let's see. All right, I have to use the bathroom quick, and then I'm going to start a second race. So just give you that. That's what I'm going to do. Let me ask you guys. This is something I want to do. I don't know if it's necessarily different. I don't want to say never been done, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I hate saying things like that because someone's always done something. You just don't know about it. But who would be interested in a sim racing league? Now, obviously, there are plenty of small stuff, friends, groups of friends who do stuff like that all the time. Right? Like I said, I'm not doing anything new. But I'd like to do something once I get a little more bearing on scheduling with streaming, my other job, and life in general. So this will probably be like, I'm thinking after the holidays, for sure. Especially once I get a solid grasp on if Project Motor Racing is good. I want to start a sim racing league. Now, the thing is about the league is that it has to be a cross-play game. So that's what Project Motor Racing is perfect for this, because everybody can be involved with it. You know, F125 was another game. Eddie 6, yes, F125. It's ironic that I just said that and I saw your comment. Yes, I play the F125 games, or game singular. But that's one of the games that I'm considering for the league. Project Motor Racing and F125. F125 already in the books. This could work. Project Motor Racing is the one I'm really... I want to say I'm putting all my eggs in one basket, but I'm really waiting to see the eggs in that basket before I really make long-term racing plans. Well, the thing about the league stuff is that I try my best to organize. Like, it's not going to be like, let's just say there's 24 people in the league. I'm not going to try and get all 24 people together. So I would probably do like a minimum of, like, you know, obviously we want even numbers here. I guess we don't have to, but a minimum amount of people to a race, and then we'll just have more races where the races can happen, you know. Stuff like that is stuff that requires work and figuring things out with multiple people. But for the most part, we need a foundation. We need a game, you know, a game that works for it. So if it's one of those things where I even have to bring it down to, like, okay, a minimum of 2 people to race, and you can say, all right, you're in the UK, so you race... Well, okay, for example, what time is it right now, Alborg? I'm saying that right. I'm probably not. Because right now here, it's 11:30 a.m. Or 11:30 if you're military time period. Or 30 p.m. So, I mean, technically, I don't know what you're doing right now, but like, so I do 2 streams for that's subject to change in the future too. Like, that's just how I'm doing in the beginning to see how things go. Monday, Wednesday, Friday are my stream days, and I stream twice in that day, every 12 hours. So I do a 10 a.m. stream, and I do a 10 p.m. stream, roughly. Tonight, I think I'm going to do 8:30, because I got some locals that want to like possibly get on. So, did we break this, by the way? Jesus. I have literally the fastest SSD money can buy. Well, from a consumer standpoint, anyway. And games still take forever to load. It kills me. Alright. Oh, don't get disqualified. Woof! I love these cars, man. Ah! Oh no, pay attention to the road, bro! I love this track, man. I love this car. Trying to find the windows to pass. Like that. Oh! That wasn't smooth. Oh no. Ah! Okay, get back in it. Go, go, go. This is some good old sloppy fun. Don't expect racing like that in the league, by the way. This is just me having some fun with the AI. Also, coming out of that Ferrari into this Group C car is a very much big change. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not in a try-hard mood today at all. So, I'm just in more of a, let's have a good time. I probably foobarred this race, though. I don't see there being any way of making any ground up. I'd have to dumb the AI down quite a bit. Oh, God. Or just stop crashing. That's a solid tactic as well. Don't crash. Works out pretty good for a lot of racers, I heard. You son of a bitch. Oh my God. I am way off the mark, that's for sure. Let's try and pull this off. Oh, 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 oh. We got it. We're good. Nope. Want to stay in second there. No first. But yeah, I'm thinking I would do a sim racing league with this, but I really want console players to get involved too. Hate to use the word inclusive because I feel like that word has gotten so not accepted these days. But that's ultimately what I want. I want people to be able to do this, you know? If the barrier to entry is way too high, it takes some of the fun out of it, you know? Son of a bitch. We got it, though. Sometimes you just gotta crash someone to get out in front of them. Fortunately, we're a little too far away from this pack to be able to get any kind of draft, so I guess now's a good chat time. Is this the 2005 DLC? Yeah, I do have it, but this this car is not from the DLC. But yes, I do have everything for this game. This game takes up a lot of my time. I just wish it was not a PC-only game. If this game was on console, we wouldn't need a Project Motor Racing, in my opinion. I mean, this game does need career mode. They say it's coming in 2026. We'll see. Game came out in 2020. 6 years seems like a really long time to release a career mode. Historic DLC makes you feel old? Yeah. I don't know how old you are, but the 2005 old DLC, that's when I graduated high school, so... ...42, yeah, I'm 38, so... similar. Nice driving. I would say thank you. I don't know if I'm being sarcastic, though, only because I think I'm doing rather poorly. I mean, I'm doing all right. I was a little reckless in the beginning. I'm trying to dial it back for the sake of not looking like a total chump right now. But thank you if you're not being facetious. Oh, wow! I definitely hit a, That's called jinxing me. Oh dear, this race is well over now. I was making some good progress until I hit the, you know... That's the thing about these Group C cars. They're so much fun, but you're out of control the whole time. You're just trying to stay in control of being out of control. Just takes one little mistake. And that happens. And then you die in real life. This is what I'm looking forward to, by the way, most in Project Motor Racing. The Group C cars. Because they sound amazing. Oh, no. Thanks for pitting me, buddy. I mean, I know I probably cut you off, but... it's called defensive driving, sir. And you know I'm not doing that, so... Oh, what? See, that's all AI. That was all AI. 100% AI. I was on a straight line right there, and then he pitted me. Unbelievable. No game to this point, no sim, no arcade game, no nothing has perfect racing AI. That's why, like, I'm not too concerned about Project Motor Racing when it comes to the AI complaints. Why did that just shut off? Hold on, we got distractions here. Alright, we're back. That was weird. My side panel here decided to go all black screened on me. It's working again. You know... boy, I tell ya. Let me see. I wonder if I should do that, though. I don't know. Anyway, well, we're working again. That was strange. What was I saying before my brain got reset by that black screen of death there? Something about Project Motor Racing. I know that. Chat, remind me, please. I'm 38, so my brain doesn't work like it used to. I guess I can go back and listen to myself, but that's no fun. I got nothing. Well, if anybody in chat wants to remind me of what I said, that would be more than welcome. Let's try to unpause this game too and not instantly crash. I don't have no idea where I paused it. Instantly crashed. That's fine. That's fine. It's recoverable. Oh, man. Yeah, we get it. I don't know how that's unsportsmanlike, though. It wasn't a shortcut. You could say maybe track limits, yeah, but I don't know if that constitutes being not sportsmanlike. I usually like to think of being unsportsmanlike as illegal activity. Which I guess track limits is illegal activity. Stop it. It's all words. It's all mumbo-jumbo. Come on! You know, I could have potentially caught this pack if I didn't hit that wall in the beginning of lap 2. Because 5 of them are right there. That's how we catch them. That's legal, right? You can do that. Hey, you laugh. That got me, I think, 2 positions. Yeah. Yeah. Look at that. We went from 7th to 5th from the old kamikaze tactic. Drive through them. Alright, out for delivery. But when will you arrive? That's what I want to know. I got some more aluminum extrusions showing up today to build my mouse holder over here. Because mine's too low and just, I don't like it. Alright, so what I want to do... I want to do some sound comparisons here. So let's get out of this. Let's go back to test day. So what I'm going to do is I want to show you kind of how important it is to have a good sound stage. So I'm going to compare the Sauber Mercedes in this to the one in Forza. And then I'm also going to show you the 787B in Forza. And I'm going to compare it to Project Motor Racing soundstage for both of these cars. There's a good video I found. I have to re-find it. But this game does a pretty good sound with the Sauber. Forza does a pretty horrendous job at just about every soundstage. There's not a good sounding car in that game. And I think they know what they're doing with the sound. I got a lot of faith in them, that's the thing. The complaints I've seen about Project Motor Racing right now are kind of ridiculous. Some are warranted, but they're ridiculous. In the sense of, like, complaining about the AI. If this game does everything that they've said it's going to do, crossplay, ranked, different cars ranking, online, it seems like that, yes, they are leaning into career mode as a big selling point, and that's where the AI can be kind of a bummer. But I expect the AI to get better, so I'm not... If the game does everything great and AI sucks, I don't care. For the simple reason that AI sucks in every game. This and Gran Turismo 7 has been the best AI experiences. And they're arguably pretty bad. So, who cares if Project Motor Racing also has bad AI? Congratulations, you're the same as everybody else. However, if the rest of the game is good, well... Alright. Let's compare the soundstage now. Scale of 1 to 10... How much do you guys care about sound? So for the sake of audio right now, I want to just mute the music. Alright. So it's just going to be my beautiful serenading voice and the game. And if you haven't figured it out, I knew that was coming. The little, tiny little fences that stop your car, your, 2,500 pound car at 190 miles an hour, dead in its tracks. Sorry, I forgot. It's a 5-speed. It's a 5-speed and 6 gear just registers as neutral. So anyway, if we had to rank it, scale of 1 to 10, type in chat. 10 being the best, 1 being the worst sounding vehicle. What do you think this car sounds like right now? What do we think? So now, we're going to get out of this, and we're going to go over to Forza. Woof. I know, right? Man, Forza had the potential, but they blew it. Exit. I don't quite know if I've configured Forza yet, but we're going to find out. I'm going to have to sign in, because, you know, Microsoft. That's another thing. This game likes to give you a hard time when it comes to, Oh, look. Forza crashed. How do we get to the intro and crash? It's still having me sign in, though. Boy, oh boy. Oh, whoops. This is the worst part, too. I don't remember what my password is. Too many noises going on. Alright, that's what I thought it was. Retry connection. Alright, let me kill this music. Well, the in-game music, anyway. Is this actually pre-programmed? I'm curious. No, I didn't think it was going to be. Didn't think that was going to be. Alright. Play the career. Yeah, why are we talking about this? Go back. Alright. Settings. Audio. Music is set to 0. So what's playing then? This is what I'm talking about. Music is set to 0. Oh, wait. That was my music playing. What a dope. Okay. Well, we got that out of the way. Save. Now I got to configure my wheel. Why is this being... What is making this thing freak out? Like, look. Forza's rough, guys. For anybody interested in racing games, don't play Forza. This? So that's that. Gas. Something is automatically like inputting in this. I'm just going to try restarting this game for now. I'm telling you guys, Forza might be a quick uninstall right now. Try one more time. And if we can't get anywhere with this, we're abandoning Forza's, the idea of even attempting Forza. Forza crashed again. Folks, why is Forza so bad? Watch. Watch this happen. Live. Well, it didn't crash. It didn't crash. So that's a start, right? All right, the HUD is working what seems to be correctly this time. So let's see if I can actually properly do this. Gas. Brake. Handbrake. Steering. I have the feeling that that didn't do it. I don't know what combined steering means. Sets the steering to use a single axis. Steering left. Steering right. Alright, so it's the same. Shift up. Shift down. Clutch. Reverse. First gear. I think these are all mapped. One. Yeah. All right, let's see if this works. No confidence, though. It is Forza. Can we actually, I'm just curious. See if I can map, I mean, real quick. I want to see if I can map the wheel to be able to maneuver around. I definitely don't want a dead zone in my steering. Whatever. Screw it. Let's move on. No, revert. All right, let's just see if this works. A free play, quick event. Where's the Mercedes? Obviously, it would be at Mercedes, but you never know. Here we go. Nope, 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 nope. That is definitely not the Mercedes. This game. Stop it. Stop it. Okay, thank you. Now, track layout. Don't care. We'll do Daytona for now. Sports. Time of day, noon. Weather. I just want clear for now. Clear. Number of laps, 3 is fine. Cars, yeah, sure. I have no idea if this game is going to work right now. I haven't tried this on the Simagic wheel yet. I haven't even opened up the software. I have no idea what it's going to do here. I haven't mapped any buttons either, so I didn't even think about that. Oh, so it's got that going on. Alright, so I clearly have to invert the force feedback. Immediately that screwed me right there. Invert force feedback on. Close, save, resume. Alright, so we got a working wheel. I'll tell you though, see like the steering, the force feedback in Forza, steering in general, it's pretty bad. This game had great potential though. Graphically, it's beautiful. I think it's of all the combinations of games, PC, console, all the different kinds, this is the best graphics game. But unfortunately, that's where it ends. Yeah, I got no pause, so let me do some more button mapping. I know, sorry, this is a menu simulator. But, oh, see, it's doing the weird... What is inputting right now? All right. Inputs, gas brake, yep. Where's the menu stuff? All right, so pause, that button. Switch camera, that button. Pit entry, reset to track, pit. Rewind that. Look left. Look back. Look right. Look straight back. What's the difference? Whatever. Well, that seems like that covers everything with the car. How do I navigate the menu, though? That's what I want to do. All right. A lot of you guys watching right now, no one's saying anything. Hold on. So let's do this. Let's go into Sim Pro here, make some changes. Oh, we're still using AMS2, huh? Oh, that's right, I didn't have set it up to switch. Which is honestly probably fine, because I feel like this is going to be some good base settings for pretty much everywhere. So, close that back. And let's head back to this. Yeah, it's so weird. You just lose all force feedback with any level of this game is... It's so weird. Like, look, you can see in the wheel. It's fighting me, and then it kind of goes away. Like nothing. So weird. Hey, look, dead, nothing. And then it's back. Gone again. It seems you get... The game doesn't know how to... Look at... Why hit the brakes, buddy? Alright, so clearly the AI right now is set very low. And, oh, by the way, this game has the worst AI you will ever experience. I'm just going to get to first place and then call it. Thanks. I think I'm just going to drive into the back of this guy to celebrate getting first place. Oh, I just got next level denied. All right. As you can see, Forza's not very good. It looks good, that's the thing. So maybe you guys can't tell because you're only seeing the visual, you're not feeling the game. But visually, it's probably the best looking game in my opinion. It's better than Gran Turismo for sure, but it's also on PC too, mind you. All right. Yeah, we get it, we get it, we get it. Let's get out of here. Exit. So, I wasn't able to really do what I wanted to there because it's so rough. Oh, I know what I can do. I know what I can do. Alright, so... before we get out of this, I want to do free play. Quick event. I want to use the Mazda, the 787B. Oh my god. This game doesn't even work good with a mouse on computer. Alright. 787B. Number of cars. I want 0. So I just want to be out there by myself right now. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the video, and I want to compare directly from an audio standpoint. And I'm going to need some of your feedback on this. There's plenty of you watching, either on your phones, you're on a computer. It's very easy to just comment your opinion or which one you like better sounding. So let's get into this, and then I'm going to pause it. Oh, that's right, this doesn't do anything. All right. Let me find the video. That was weird. All right. Surround sound's a creepy thing even through your headset. That was weird. All right, let's see. Let me just see something here. Nope, no issues there. That was weird. YouTube went from 20 viewers to 0 in a matter of... oh, 1 viewer, that's me. In a matter of half a second. That was weird. All right, so... let's pause this. Pause the music. Now let's find this video. See, Project Motor Racing Sounds. First video. So, I want you guys to listen to, get this over here. I want you guys to tell me what you think sounds better. So I'm going to play the game. You go to settings quick and turn off full screen so this game just operates a little bit better. Full screen off. Apply. Save. You know, I might need that on. That's weird. Save, yep, whatever. All right, so this is the 787B in Forza. Let's get up to higher RPM and then do a downshift. It almost sounds like it's crying, right? So now let's listen to Project Motor Racing's version of that. You'll just hear it in the background because you're not going to visually see it. Listen to the downshifts. Has anybody heard a four-rotor before, period? Real life or another video that's of a real car? Whatever is in Forza is not what a four-rotor sounds like. It's just a high-pitched engine. This sounds like a four-rotor. Now let's go back to the game. Let me do this. I'm going to find a real 787B audio clip. Oh. Cancel. 787B. That wasn't a good enough video. Trying to find... Hard to do this. So listen, all right, here we go. Here's a perfect video. Just listen to this audio here. This is what a 787B sounds like. I don't know what you guys think about that. Sounds pretty good, right? Now, back to Project Motor Racing. This is their version of that car, their audio. The downshifts are where you hear it. Now, let's go back to Forza. Maybe. Now let's do some high RPM downshifting to try and get the pop, the crackle. Actually, let's do this too. I'm sorry, that sounds terrible. So, let's see. Where'd my, oh yeah. Gotta tab out, boys. All right. Oh, wrong thing. Okay, so back to Project Motor Racing. I'm going to go ahead and say that sounds a little more authentic. Now, this is Project Motor Racing's Sauber Mercedes. Listen to this for a second. So, Sauber Mercedes to me is like a parallel to the 787 in terms of the authenticity of the car and just how awesome it is to drive. It's my favorite car to drive in AMS2. There is no 787B, which kind of stinks, but it is what it is. But listen to this car. Listen to this thing. And then, of course, this video. Like, that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. It's the simple things. I mean, I've seen people in this in the comment sections complain about the sounds of the cars in Project Motor Racing in the limited footage they've seen. I'm sorry, but if you don't like the sound of the car in Project Motor Racing, you probably just don't like the sound of the car, and you don't know what it actually sounds like. Because I'm a big fan of the 787B, and my biggest complaint is they never get that car right in games. That sounds perfect. It doesn't sound bad in Forza. It just doesn't sound like this car. It just sounds like a high-pitched like V12 or something, you know? But anyway, I'm not trying to glaze Project Motor Racing, but, you know, I'm a huge fan of audio in games, especially racing games, because you got to sit there and listen to the cars at the same RPM back and forth all over and over and over again. I'm sorry. I think Project Motor Racing has been the best soundstage I've found so far. Now, mind you, I haven't played it yet, so we're going to find out. But the Sauber. I'm sorry. The game so far, the soundstage for Project Motor Racing sounds phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. All right, let's get out of Forza because this game is terrible. Do we agree? Do we disagree? Chat's silent. Maybe I'm just losing my mind. That's quite possible. Wouldn't be the first time. All right, so now that we did that, let's get back to reality here. Let's get back in AMS. Ugh. Now, the real question is, what do we want to do in Project Motor Racing? Or in, I wish, in AMS. Supposedly these championships I can skip the practices. Yeah, mistakes, yep, blah, blah, blah. Let's try it out. Sessions, qualifying. Oof. There's supposed to be a way to skip session. Nothing. Options, maybe? No. Restart session. Return to pits. Skip to end. That's what I wanted. Perfect. Continue to qualifying. All right. Let's get the gloves on now. All right, let's see what we actually can quali here. I don't know this track at all, so it's gonna be a rough one. I love how it warns me that there's a sharp turn in front of me soon. Let's get the tires warm here first. Hey, do me a favor in chat. Someone just comment, even if it's you just type a number or a letter, I don't care. I want to make sure chat's actually working. Because the numbers I'm seeing on the live side here are doing some weird things right now, so I just want to make sure it's actually still working. And I'm not talking to nobody when it says there's people there, you know? Excuse me, buddy, but I'm trying to qualify. You can qualify later. Oh! Oh, boy. This track is not my specialty. Alright, we qualified first. I mean, return to pits, skip 10. Continue to race. Easy enough. Oh, this is all first gear territory. Terrible. Oh boy. Don't take your eyes off the road, fellas. Don't do it. Don't text and drive. That's what I get for looking at my phone. I'll pause this quick. I got to use the little boy's room. I also got to send a quick text. Say... All right. Little boy's room. Here we go. All right. Gloves back on. So for those of you just tuning in, we started our first AMS championship. Medium difficulty AI, just so I can get the hang of things. Eventually we'll bump this up. But they say that though, but Project Motor Racing might come out and take up the rest of my life. I really hope that game ends up being good. All right, here we go. Back to it. Same turn. I take my eyes off the road at the same exact spot both times. Fastest time, 1:41.2. Got it. Oof, terrible turn. What we do? Ah, I want 139. You getting on at 8 p.m. tonight, sir? And thank you for making sure my chat's working. It better be an AMS, and you better... Oh, never mind. I'm thinking I'm going to have a 787B Sauber Mercedes showdown, but... You have to mod in the 787. Project Motor Racing will do that. But for this, yes, we're racing tonight. All I need is a 1/10 of a second. And that isn't it. Fuck! This lap's junk. Oh, this comes with learning tracks. Figuring out what works and what doesn't work. That clearly didn't work. Feels like a go-kart track in this car. Two more laps. Come on. Jesus. How am I doing here? I feel like I'm doing awful. Getting sloppy with it now because I'm over this track. That counts, right? We're back. All right, last lap. Ugh. Cars feel very slippery. They do. So the older the cars are in the game, the worse they are. So this is an older car in this game, but like the Viper, it seems like because they've been updating the physics of this game for a while, and it seems like the newer the car has been implemented into the game, the less slidey the physics are. These cars are naturally very slidey because they're just naturally very slidey cars on top of the AMS physics. So the best way I can explain the physics and the way they feel. All right, so that's race number 1 completed. Let's back out. I need a break from that. Is that the physics? I don't think it's physics. The sliding you're feeling, I think, is an animation. It's not so much a physic. So you're in control of the slide the whole time, but it looks like you're out of control. And it generates the sensation that you're sliding around. And I really think that's just an animation that they put in the game. Because I feel like the whole time the car is going to oversteer, but I'm actually understeering. If you're actually paying attention to where the car is going in your inputs and not like the shake, your car is pushing. It's not oversteering. But it feels like it wants to oversteer the whole time. So the physics seem to make the car understeer. The visuals make the car look like it's oversteering. Very strange. It's not my favorite, but you get used to it for the sake of the fact that the game is fun. So, like, it's got a shit ton of variety. It's a very out of control, in control general feeling. It's a fun game. But the visuals, in terms of the way the cars look like they're sliding, it ain't perfect. I'll say that. If it was like 30, I agree. If like, I think like the perfect visual handling would be right between ACC and AMS. ACC's it's good. I think it's better, but it makes it a very, I don't want to say boring racing experience, but feeling like you're in that much control almost feels boring because it makes the cars feel slower than they are. There's no sensation of speed. This game has a shit ton of sensation of speed because the cars feel like they're out of control the whole time. So, but like, for example, the new Viper in this game, this whole entire GT1, so if it says 2005 under it, that's the latest expansion. So these cars, that animation seems to be toned down quite a bit, especially like a car like this. This here, these cars feel the same. These feel the same. Anything that says 2005 is the latest update. And they said that they changed the physics around with this update, but I'm thinking they changed the physics for just those cars. I could be wrong. Just speculating. Let's try the Viper out again. Let's do a test day around... I hate to say the Nürburgring, but the Nürburgring. It's just a fun track, especially when you're doing testing. Ugh. It's a Viper. They're the most perfect cars ever. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But if you watch, now, mind you, the car's on cold tires right now. But this car is a lot less slidey than what you just saw out of that Group C car. Mind you, it's on cold tires, so it's actually sliding and it's not making you think it is. See, this car is in a lot more control visually, but it doesn't feel much difference. It's really just a... That's why I think like that slippery, like slidey physics is really an animation, and it's not the physics of the car. I mean, I guess it's grouped in the physics, but it's not grouped into the tire physics, the suspension physics. in the long straight. This part always feels like a slog in a slow car. Well, that's where I'm going to end that test drive. I tried pushing it a little too long in that straight. So now I'm going to do my challenge, my daily challenge. I'm going to try and do these once a day, or once a stream. Single race. I want to use the Viper. The fun car. Nürburgring. Lower this down. So I did... What did I do last time? I think 70... No, I did 70 last time. So let's bump it up to 75. I know that seems easy, because it is. But the Nürburgring is really hard to pass people cleanly. So this challenge that I typically do, basically, I'll set the difficulty on the lower side, or I'll step it up. So right now, last time we did 70, this time we're doing 75. And I have to pass every car before the finish line. And we have to max out the total cars, so 27. We do one lap. And I start in the last place. I have to pass all the cars before the finish line of one lap on the Nordschleife. Last time, like I said, we did 70 difficulty. Now we're doing 75. We're going to step that up 5 at a time until I basically can't do it. Let's find out. I've learned that difficulty percentage, whatever, 100 is about my driving skill in this game. So, like, if there's 5 cars in front of me on, like, a decent track, I have to be absolutely perfect to close any distance on them at 100. And 120, forget it. 120 is there to break you mentally, I think, because you can't beat them. They drive away from you pretty aggressively, even in the straights. So, all right, here we go. Challenge number 2. Let's push our way in. Squeak. That's not how I want to do it, but that's what I'll take. Remember, the whole point of this challenge is to do it as cleanly as possible because it's the Nürburgring, or it's the Nordschleife. If I just want to plow everybody out of the way, like that, I could. I don't know how that wasn't a penalty, but I'll take it. And to be able to get in front of all of them in one lap, you have to be aggressive. You have to take chances. And just, sometimes you just gotta hit them. It is what it is. I got 5 penalties to work with. So far I haven't got any yet. How, I don't know, but... don't want to be missing gears. 4th place. That's the podium right there. Oh, you want to race dirty, eh? Okay. All right. Want to race dirty? I can race dirty too. Oops, sorry. Oops, my bad. I didn't mean to do that. All right, time to get back to ethics here. God, you guys are slow. That was a very slow carousel, boys. I do have to double check and make sure I have the penalties on right now, because I feel like I've gotten a few. Alright, so I guess we can bump it up to 80. Because that was still a little too easy. Now, yeah, I definitely hit them a few times. Probably shouldn't have, trying to do it clean. Because it's a lot easier to get to the front of the pack on this track by just hitting everybody out of the way. Obviously, you chance crashing yourself, but so be it. Well, that was easy. So we won by 8 seconds, roughly. 8.5 seconds. All right. I say we bump it up to 80. Do that again. Yep, penalties are on. Do 3. All right, so we're going to bump this up to 80 now. Try try and find that challenging point where try and get down to the wire, you know, maybe past the win first place at the finish line type deal. Let's try it out. All right. Challenge number 3, 80%. Got to get to the finish line from dead last in first place. I'm on mediums, though. Why am I on mediums? I want to be on softs. Well, casualties of war. God, the softs feel so much better under braking. Except for that one. Sorry, buddy. Fellow Viper. All right, we didn't lose too much right there. 2 positions, not bad. We'll get them back. We are 4 seconds out of first place now, thanks to not paying attention. That's top 5 right there. That might have just done us in right there. Come on, get off the AI. One thing I don't like about this game is that when you like rub the AI, you get like glued together and neither one of you can turn. You'll both be turning in the opposite directions and yet the game locks you together. Alright, I checked out. Too many mistakes, pisses me off. Oh. Oh, it's warm in here. Let me go turn the heat down quick. Alright. I got about a half hour left, and then I'm going to call it for stream number 1 on today. Let's see. I do want to switch it up a little bit. Game-wise. Or, race-wise. What do I want to do? That's the question. What do I want to do? These cars are relatively fun, but they really, really need to get some heat in the tires. And they also need a race wheel. So let's go, let's do that. Let's do this. Let's do 2 laps. Just because these cars, they take a while to get some heat in the tires. I don't really know if that's a game issue or what, but... So what I am going to do, though... I'm going to abandon the H pattern and round wheel for a little while. And we're going to go formula wheel. Or track wheel. Whatever. Whew. All right, this might be the final one. This is probably going to be 15 minutes or so. Final race, and then I'll close it out with some words. But this will probably be the final race. 2 laps, all 15 minutes. Who knows what's going to happen? Might be some crashing. Might be some nonsense. I'll tell you, though, this wheel does feel like a massive amount better when it comes to feeling like you're going to kick some ass. Oof, lap record with this car on this track is 5:43. We're going nowhere near that. Especially with a pack of however many vultures in front of us. All right, here we go. God, these cars have no grip in the beginning. Somehow that was 0 contact. All right, buddy. Woo! 13th. 12th. Almost 11th. 11th. Recklessly, but we got it. Oh, sorry. They brake so aggressively. Out of the damn way! I'm getting aggressive with you now because you're annoying me. I got another pack to catch. I'm not catching these guys because they're too far out of the draft. So we'll take this moment to relax a bit. Sip of water. Oh man. Alright, so we got to 7th place in 1 lap. We got 1 lap left to go. Jesus. Weird physics right there. Jesus, man. Alright, 4th place. There's the last group of vultures right there. 3 in a row. Brilliant AI. I just got some smooth driving to catch them. We got a lot of track left, but if I can't close the gap... What are we? 1.2 seconds out of first. That's nothing. There's first. All right. Now just some smooth, clean driving, and we got the win. Oh. Tell you, these LMDH cars, they do not handle the curbs very well at all. All right, home stretch. All right. 2 laps on the Nürburgring. Best lap, 6:10. I'll take that. You replay. All right, that's enough. Whew. So did I answer the question today? Will Project Motor Racing be good? I don't know. I'm excited to find out, though, that's for sure. Let's get that off. Well, folks, that's pretty much wrapping up round 1 for today. We're obviously going to be back on tonight. I don't know if I'm going to start at 8 or 8:30 tonight. I'm going to figure that up. I will have a scheduled stream put up shortly once I make that decision. And then basically, Rowdy GT500 in chat here. He's going to be joining us, and we're going to be doing some AMS, do some racing, and we'll see how that goes. But anyway, folks, it's a solid stream. I'm glad you guys tuned in. It was a good amount of you this time, and I'm glad that a lot of you had some things to say. Always appreciated. Conversation is what tends to get me through the streaming process, or else I feel like even though there's people watching, I feel like I'm talking to myself sometimes. So it all helps, folks. I appreciate it, and I will be back between 8 and 8:30 tonight. So, for those of you who don't know, that's Eastern Standard Time. I'll put that in chat right now, actually. 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time return. That's when I'll be back on. So, for those of you who want to tune into the second stream of the day, I'll see you all then. Until then, folks, thanks for being here. Have a good one. Thank you. Oh, Jesus.